One issue, 2 points of view. Agora.
A rather special Agora this week. Two leading European politicians from the Greens and centre-right. Daniel Cohn Bendit, a veteran from the stormy days of May 1968, and Alain Lamassoure, a former French minister, co-author of the original EU constitution, discuss what price EU democracy now that Ireland has rejected the Lisbon Treaty.
The EU governments are going to try in one way or another to continue to ratify Lisbon. We'll have 25, 26 or 27 by the end of the year. I don't know. The problem is the Treaty of Lisbon and the entire process enough to relaunch Europe? That's the question. I say no. I'm not against continuing to try, but we have to reinvent Europe's decision-making processes so that truly European politicians and a European political debate can emerge, and we stop having only national discussions.
The goal of the Lisbon Treaty was to empower Europe's citizens. We've been working for 50 years based on institutions and rules drawn up for a small commercial agreement between 6 nations, the Treaty of Rome. Today we have a political union of 27 nations, and we still use the same rules. From now on, people need the power in Europe, and it should be they who choose the direction European policies take. The Lisbon Treaty intended the European Parliament to at last become a true legislative body, and which would elect the President of the European Commission, who would become a sort of European Prime Minister. But the problem is that every time we ask the people to approve this reform, they vote no. The citizens reject the very reform that will give them more power, because we haven't known how to explain that to them.
That's because we stick another 300-page document in front of them that only professionals can understand. How can they say, I'm for this or against this? That's one thing. Secondly, the Irish situation is totally absurd. They say, we have problems with all these free market reforms, but they have flourished with them, and they insist on keeping their permanent commissioner, but he's been the most fervent free marketeer.
And he boasts that he hasn't read the treaty.
That's right, it's Kafkaesque, bad Kafka at that. So that's why I say forget Lisbon. Can't we find a way of renewing the mechanics of European political debate? Schäuble, the German Interior Minister, says universal suffrage should elect an EU president or Commission president. Very well. Let's suggest it and do it. Let's see who's a candidate and what projects they propose for Europe, and then we'll see. Look, it's simple enough to do. The Council and Parliament agree and organise the election of an EU Commission President next year with 2 rounds of voting based on universal suffrage. The first round elects the EU Parliament, and then we accept the popular vote and elect their favourite, following the existing procedures and treaties. We have to find something to launch the debate on a popular level.
De trouver quelque chose qui lance le débat avec les citoyens.
I'm not against the idea, but I feel such an innovation might take time. You'd need a legal agreement, a treaty that needed ratification in one way or another. And to do that before next June might be pushing it. However, I think there is something we could do by then, even if Lisbon is not applied. And that's to get Parliament and Europe's political parties to agree. You represent the Greens, I stand for the Popular Party, there will be our Socialist friends, the Liberal Democrats. The next coalition in the new Parliament, elected next June, could then designate the President of the European Commission.
Puisse désigner le président de la Commission européenne.
It could then take the place of the Council of Europe, overruling heads of state, who, if Lisbon were not yet in force, could name the Commission President. Parliament would then empower the people's choice.
Yeah, OK. Let's take another example to follow your lead. If Lisbon isn't ratified, we're back to the Treaty of Nice. Every country apart from Germany will lose an incredible number of parliamentary seats. So they will want a readjustment and come to a deal. Why not say to them, those leading the respective party lists can be candidates throughout Europe? That would create a true European politics that could find a way forward. We have to find something.
Certainly. What would be interesting would be if we could all campaign, each of our respective parties in the electoral programs we propose, Europe-wide. Now, if you're going to participate in a coalition of the left, and if you intend to win, you would, say, nominate Mr. Daniel Cohn Bendit as President of the European Commission. And campaign like that, so that the entire European left would go to the people saying, this is what Cohn Bendit, or Tony Blair, or whoever wants to do.
Ou Monsieur Tony Blair, ou Monsieur je ne sais pas.
Each party has its candidate. They'll make a deal after. They won't do it before. Let's say if François Bayrou wants to be the EU president, he'll make a deal before or after with the left or the right. He'd symbolise a transnational list. We can't go too far, but we could allow, if we make a mini treaty that readjusts the number of parliamentary seats, the results that everyone wants. And why not allow candidatures everywhere? That means on voting slips, every country would have the same head of list. We would have, for the first time, the same national and European political environment.
Yes, there you're introducing a new idea that's pretty interesting, and which would in essence be multiple candidatures. So the same person could be a candidate in Britain, France and Germany, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, then afterwards they'll choose which country they'll be based in, and the result is calculated.
It's not far-fetched. I'm not against the idea personally. It could be a little difficult to get our partners and colleagues to agree. But in any case, because we're here at EuroNews, the only European television channel, we could try with a deal between the parties in the European Parliament, maybe with EuroNews or the other big national medias, to ensure that whatever the treaty in force in the next European election, that there would be debates between the party leaders.
Quoi qu'il arrive, quel que soit le traité applicable, la prochaine élection européenne, la prochaine campagne européenne, donne lieu à des débats entre les chefs de file, entre les chefs de liste.
Exactly.
You suggest rightly that the 4 or 5 major European political blocs put forward leaders that are European, not purely national.
European. Exactly.
And that then the 5 of them would debate on EuroNews, not just the 2 of us.
And that we insist that the debate would be on the theme of what Europe do you want? What Europe the right, the left, the Greens, the Liberals want? It'll be funny to see how that's agreed to. It'll be complicated, but I think that's the only way to show citizens, Europe's electors, the EU's own logical structure, and that it's not just the sum of 27 national movements.
Sa propre structure logique.
C'est ça.
Et ce n'est pas l'addition de 27 moments nationaux.
Effectively. One of the EU's paradoxes is that we've broken down barriers and everything flows freely, but the last walls standing
are political ones.
That's it. Political debates are walled off and boxed in. French politics remain very French, but it's the same for our neighbours, totally straitjacketed by their national politics. So we have to seize the chance, you're right, whatever the treaty in force for the next European campaign, to, if not knock down these walls, make them transparent.
Or at least make a start.
And that would force each of Europe's political families, in my case the right, the Greens for you, the Socialists and the Liberals, to organise themselves and have the same programme in 27 countries. That won't be obvious in some cases.
It'll be easier to agree on personalities than policies, but that doesn't matter.
And that will allow a new political generation to appear. New politics, unlike national politics, and perhaps a better expression of the European spirit.
Et incarnant peut-être mieux l'esprit européen.